Consumer EV tax credits would be expanded and union-made vehicles would receive an additional $4,500 under a budget bill just passed by the House Ways and Means Committee, assuming it's adopted by Congress. Local manufacturers are closely monitoring the budget bill. Several questions have been raised by the non-unionized electric vehicle manufacturers in response to this move. In this video, we'll talk about the recent revisions to the EV tax credit, as well as the allegations leveled by the non-union EV manufacturer and the restrictions placed on who is eligible to receive these tax credits. Stay tuned. Welcome back to New Vehicle Media, your go-to channel for EV stock. Quick reminder that subscribing is free and liking the video helps YouTube suggest similar content. Comments are loved and featured in upcoming videos. EV tax credit changes. Democrats were trying to get a bill through Congress that would increase the current tax credit from $7,500 to $12,500 for customers who purchase an electric vehicle. However, the law contains a number of provisions that have turned the bill into a politicized debate. Customers who purchase an electric vehicle are currently eligible for a $7,500 tax credit on the majority of electric vehicles. This is not something that will be changed. However, the bill would eliminate a barrier that prevents manufacturers from receiving the credit after they have sold 200,000 electric vehicles, which has been achieved by only two companies so far: Tesla and General Motors. In addition, the plan would establish a lower credit of $2,500 for used electric vehicles. The modifications that have sparked opposition, however, are not these. It's the additional $4,500 credit that would be provided exclusively to electric vehicles constructed with unionized labor that is the most controversial component of the bill. When combined with an additional $500 incentive for cars that made US-made batteries, it could result in up to $12,500 in EV tax credits for American customers, if they purchase the correct nameplates from the appropriate manufacturers. Favoritism allegations. Volkswagen, Toyota, Honda, and other foreign manufacturers with assembly plants in the United States were among the first to express opposition to the idea, despite the fact that the EV tax credit bill is a critical component of President Biden's aim of having electric vehicles account for at least 50% of all new vehicle sales in the US by 2030. The international automakers believe it unjustly benefits Detroit's Big Three manufacturers. Tesla also expressed opposition to the bill, which is important not just because it is one of the two automakers that would gain from the lifting of the 200,000 unit sales cap, but also because it is the only automaker that manufactures 100% of the vehicles it sells in the US, something the bill is intended to encourage. These unfair advantages might potentially hinder the sales of future inexpensive versions of the Lucid Air sedan, which is planned to be offered for $77,400. However, if you combine the incentive advantages of $12,500, a consumer can get the same car for $64,900. That is a significant saving. The luxury version of any manufacturer's product, of course, will not be eligible for the tax incentive program. Dan Kildee, a Michigan Democrat, said the law puts American industries in the lead, which is exactly where America wants them to be, and it decreases carbon emissions way quicker than any other policy that could be put in place. Elon Musk, the billionaire owner of Tesla Inc., whose employees are not represented by a union, has also expressed dissatisfaction with the measure. He says it's quote-unquote not evident how this assists American taxpayers, and speculated in a tweet that the provision was drafted by lobbyists from Ford Motor Company and the United Auto Workers. According to Toyota Motors, the supplementary tax credit idea is in direct opposition to the goal of carbon reduction. The company has also stated that it would strive to direct taxpayer dollars toward making electrified vehicles affordable for American consumers who cannot afford high-priced automobiles and pickup trucks. Honda, too, did not welcome the new proposed bill. They stated, when it comes to combating climate change and achieving its objective of seeing these vehicles created in the United States, Congress should treat all electric vehicles produced by American auto workers fairly and equitably. Furthermore, Honda strongly urged Congress to remove their unfair wording from their budget reconciliation proposal that links unionization to financial incentives. EV tax credit limitations. EV tax credits are subject to a number of restrictions, including requirements for how electric vehicles are manufactured. It won't apply to EVs costing more than $55,000 for sedans, $64,000 for electric vans, $69,000 for SUVs, and $74,000 for pickup trucks. So, completely removing luxury or premium vehicles from the list. Individuals with an adjusted gross income of $400,000 or more, as well as couples earning more than $800,000 combined, are also not eligible for the tax credit. By 2027, only automobiles manufactured in the U.S. would be eligible for tax incentives. These measures have been criticized by members of Congress on the opposing side of the political spectrum. Carol Miller, a Republican from West Virginia, said it was difficult to see how giving a $12,500 tax relief to someone who purchases a $74,000 electric vehicle is a strategy to help working-class workers. During the legislative session, Republican Drew Ferguson of Georgia suggested an alternative that would cut the maximum income limit for single filers to $75,000, but it was later denied. Concluding the rebate. Overall, the new legislation is meant to accomplish two goals: to encourage the adoption of electric vehicles and to encourage the unionization of labor. Indeed, it's evident that the second goal is messing up the auto manufacturers who have an economic stake in non-unionized EV manufacturing. The argument for a federal electric vehicle incentive is simple. If the goal is to reduce carbon emissions, then a fair federal EV incentive is the best course of action. After all, it would be difficult for Toyota to acknowledge developing an all-electric SUV that competes with a Mustang Mach-E that comes with a permanent $4,500 discount attached to it. It would have to produce a considerably better SUV than Ford in order to even be considered a competitor. However, it is possible that this is exactly what the Democratic Party desires. Foreign manufacturers claim their workers have chosen not to unionize. Nevertheless, it is not a coincidence that foreign manufacturers locate their manufacturing facilities in anti-union states with right-to-work laws, which make it much harder for employees to exercise their bargaining position. If the bill is passed, consumers will not only be rewarded to purchase electric vehicles, but companies will also be encouraged to support labor unions for the sake of their employees if they want to stay competitive. Everyone benefits, with the possible exception of a few firms' bottom lines. I'm interested in hearing your thoughts on the proposed legislation for the electric vehicle tax credit. Are you in favor of restricting eligibility for the additional tax incentive to just union auto manufacturers? If so, why? What impact do you believe relative these lower tax credits will have on the non-union new EV manufacturers who are contending for market share? Leave a comment to let us know what you think. Peter Parker, from Friendly Neighborhood, believes that the new generation of electric vehicle startups will move far ahead of the traditional automobile manufacturers. In addition, traditional automobile manufacturers will find it more difficult to transition from ICEs to all-electric vehicles. As a result, new EV firms will begin to dominate the automotive industry, with Tesla leading the way, followed by startups such as Lucid, NIO, and Xpeng. That should wrap things up for today. Keep in mind that subscribing is still free, and liking helps YouTube recognize your preferences. Thanks for taking the time to watch, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.